The stars twinkled silently in the night sky as humanity faced its first contact with alien life. It wasn't the friendly meeting many had hoped for, nor was it the violent invasion others had feared. Instead, it began with a shadow, a massive crystalline vessel that appeared without warning above Earth's major cities. Admiral Kang Daho stood on the command deck of his ship, looking down at the blue planet with barely hidden disdain. His tall, slender frame cast a long shadow across the polished floor as he watched the primitive vessels of Earth's space agencies scrambling to respond to his presence. Their clumsy movements almost made him laugh. "Record this observation," he commanded, his voice echoing through the ship's crystal chambers. "Earth's technological level. Pre-spacefaring. Their most advanced vessels use chemical propulsion, with some experimental ion engines. Military capabilities. Negligible. Primary weapons, kinetic projectiles, and crude nuclear devices." The ship's sensors painted a clear picture of Earth's defenses, or lack thereof. Satellites orbited aimlessly, their purposes split between communication and observation. The International Space Station, humanity's proudest achievement in space, appeared to Kang as little more than a collection of tin cans welded together. Below on Earth, governments scrambled to respond. Emergency meetings were called, military forces were placed on high alert, and civilians stared up at the sky in wonder and fear. News channels broadcast continuous footage of the crystalline ship, its surface catching and reflecting sunlight in beautiful but alien patterns. "Send the standard greeting package," Kang ordered. His communications officer complied, broadcasting a series of mathematical sequences and simple pictograms, the Empire's way of establishing contact with primitive species. Earth's response came quickly, showing at least a basic understanding of mathematics and physics. Kang noted this in his report, though it did little to improve his assessment of the species. He had seen countless worlds at this stage of development. Most would become simple resource colonies for the Empire. What Kang didn't see, what his advanced sensors failed to detect, was the truth hidden beneath the waves of the Pacific Ocean. In a facility deep under the surface, Dr. Kim Soo-jae stood before a holographic display, watching the alien ship's position with intense interest. The underwater base stretched for kilometers, built in secret through international cooperation that would have seemed impossible just years ago. Here, surrounded by the pressure of countless tons of water, humanity had achieved something remarkable. "Project status?" Dr. Kim asked, her voice calm despite the historic events unfolding above. "Quantum fold generators are stable, Doctor," her assistant reported. "All simulations show positive results. We can achieve space folding on command." Dr. Kim nodded, watching as her team continued their work. The laboratory housed technology that would seem like magic to most of humanity, let alone the Empire that watched from above. Quantum manipulation chambers lined the walls, their soft blue glow reflecting off the reinforced glass windows. "They think we're helpless," she mused, watching another feed from the surface. The alien ship had begun systematic scans of Earth's infrastructure, paying particular attention to military installations. Let them think that. In the heart of the facility, behind layers of security, sat humanity's secret weapon. The prototype quantum drive looked deceptively simple, a sphere of layered metals and exotic materials, pulsing with a soft light. This single device represented humanity's greatest leap forward, the ability to fold space itself. Above, Admiral Kang prepared his final report to the Empire's High Council. "This world will require minimal effort to subdue," he stated confidently. "Their technology is centuries behind ours. They have no effective defenses against our weapons. I recommend immediate integration into the Empire's resource extraction network." As Kang transmitted his report, Dr. Kim made her way to the facility's central chamber. She placed her hand on the quantum drive's housing, feeling the slight vibration of power flowing through it. Years of secret research, countless failed experiments, and the combined efforts of Earth's greatest minds had led to this moment. "Begin final testing sequence," she ordered. The chamber hummed to life, and for a brief moment, the laws of physics bent to human will. A small probe disappeared from one side of the room and reappeared on the other, completely intact. Dr. Kim smiled. While the Empire's ships needed weeks to cross interstellar distances, humanity had found a way to step through space itself. They would let the Empire think they were helpless, let them believe Earth was just another primitive world ripe for conquest. The truth would come as quite a surprise. In orbit, Admiral Kang gave the order to return to Empire space. His ship turned gracefully, preparing to leave Earth's solar system. "Mark this sector for standard conquest protocols," he commanded. "These humans will serve the Empire well once they learn their place." As the crystalline ship vanished into faster-than-light travel, Dr. Kim watched the sensors confirm its departure. She picked up her secure phone and dialed a number known to only a handful of people on Earth. "The aliens have left," she reported. "They saw exactly what we wanted them to see. Project Quantum Leap is ready. When they return, Earth will be ready too." The massive holographic projection of High Commander Lee Jinwoo loomed over every major city on Earth, his stern features magnified against the clouds. His imperial uniform gleamed with medals and decorations, each one representing a world brought under Empire control. The message he delivered was simple and direct. "People of Earth," his voice boomed across the planet's communication systems, "your world has been chosen to join the Galactic Empire. You have one standard cycle to submit to Imperial rule. Resistance will result in immediate military action." The streets fell silent as millions looked up at the towering image. Some people recorded the message on their phones, while others hugged their loved ones close. The Empire had returned, just as Earth's leaders had predicted they would. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, in a facility unknown to the public, General Park Han-bin stood before the assembled leaders of the United Earth Defense Council. The chamber was carved from solid rock, reinforced with advanced materials that made it undetectable to Imperial scans. "The Empire's ultimatum is exactly what we expected," Park said, his voice steady as he addressed the room. The wall screens behind him showed real-time data from Earth's defense systems and the status of their secret weapon, the Quantum Fleet. The council members sat around a circular table, representatives from every major nation on Earth. They had put aside their differences years ago, when the first signs of alien civilization were detected. Now, their unity would face its greatest test. "Show them the fleet status," Park commanded. The screen shifted to display 10 sleek vessels, each one a masterpiece of human engineering. Unlike the bulky ships of the Empire, these were elegant and streamlined, their hulls incorporating the revolutionary quantum technology developed by Dr. Kim's team. "The Quantum Fleet is ready," Park continued. "Each ship has successfully completed all testing phases. The quantum drives are stable and fully operational." One of the council members raised her hand. "What about the crews?" "Our pilots and crews have trained for 3 years in secret," Park replied. "They've mastered the quantum navigation systems. They can execute space folds with precision that would seem impossible to the Empire." The chamber's lights dimmed as Park activated a tactical display. It showed the expected position of the Imperial invasion fleet, based on their previous encounter. "The Empire believes we're defenseless," he explained. "Their scans showed them exactly what we wanted them to see: outdated rockets, basic satellites, and primitive defense systems. They have no idea about the quantum technology we've developed." Another council member spoke up. "And what if they detect our fleet before we're ready?" Park smiled slightly. "That's the beauty of quantum technology. The ships exist in a state of quantum uncertainty until activated. No conventional sensors can detect them. To the Empire, they simply don't exist." The general moved to a central podium and pressed a series of commands. The screen showed the 10 ships powering up, their quantum drives creating a subtle distortion in space around them. "Each vessel can fold space at will," Park explained. "While Imperial ships must travel in straight lines, bound by the laws of physics as they understand them, our ships can simply step through space itself." Distance becomes meaningless. The council watched as one of the ships demonstrated its capabilities, disappearing from its dock and reappearing instantly on the other side of the moon. The maneuver was performed with perfect precision, leaving no trace of its passage. We've named the ships after historical figures who changed the course of human history through innovation and strategy, Park said. The flagship is the Sun Tzu, carrying forward the ancient wisdom of appearing weak when we are strong. The council members nodded in approval. They had committed everything to this plan, knowing that humanity's future hung in the balance. When the Empire returns, Park concluded, they expect to find a primitive species ready to surrender. Instead, they'll face an enemy that can strike from anywhere, at any time, without warning. Their superior numbers and advanced weapons will mean nothing against ships that can simply fold space around them. As if to emphasize his point, the Sun Tzu performed another quantum jump, appearing briefly above the facility before vanishing again. Not a sound was made, not a trace left behind. Let them think we're defenseless, Park said quietly. Let them come with their arrogance and their ultimatums. Humanity has survived countless challenges throughout our history. We've always adapted, always found a way to overcome. This time will be no different. The council members stood as one, their decision unanimous. Earth would appear to consider the Empire's ultimatum, buying time while the final preparations were made. When the Empire returned, expecting submission, they would instead find humanity's greatest surprise waiting for them. High above, the stars twinkled peacefully, giving no hint of the conflict to come. Humanity's first interstellar war was about to begin, and the Empire had no idea what they were about to face. The morning sky turned from blue to black as 5,000 Imperial warships emerged from hyperspace. Their massive hulls blocked out the sun, casting enormous shadows that swept across continents. Commander Sun Minki stood on the bridge of his flagship, a smile playing across his face as he watched Earth's primitive satellites scatter like dust before his fleet. "Look at them run," he said to his bridge crew. "Their pathetic technology can't even maintain orbit in our presence." He adjusted his ceremonial armor, making sure every badge of conquest was visible for the transmission he was about to make. The Imperial Armada spread out in a perfect formation, each ship taking its designated position. Their energy weapons powered up simultaneously, creating waves of light that rippled across the sky. The display was visible even in broad daylight, painting the clouds with shimmers of green and purple that might have been beautiful if they weren't a prelude to conquest. In cities across Earth, millions of people looked up at the terrifying sight. The aerial display created by the Imperial weapons was like nothing humanity had ever seen. Children pointed at the lights while their parents hurried them into shelters. Emergency sirens wailed in every major city, their sounds mixing with the low hum that emanated from the massive ships above. Commander Sun activated the global broadcast system. His image appeared on every screen on Earth, projected in the sky above every city. "People of Earth," he announced, his voice carrying the weight of 5,000 worlds already conquered. "Your time of isolation has ended. Your primitive world stands no chance against the might of the Empire." The commander paused, letting his words sink in. Behind him, the bridge crew monitored Earth's responses, noting with satisfaction that the planet's military forces remained inactive. "You have ignored our generous offer of peaceful submission," Sun continued. "Now you will witness the consequence of your defiance. However, the Empire is merciful. Surrender now and become productive members of our glorious civilization. Resist and face complete subjugation." On his command screen, Sun watched as his fleet's weapons reached full power. Each ship now held enough energy to level a city. The combined firepower of the Armada could reduce Earth's surface to molten slag. "We await your response," he concluded, certain that the display of Imperial power would break any thought of resistance. Silence was the only reply. No radio transmissions, no diplomatic channels opened, no desperate pleas for mercy. Earth's communication networks had gone completely dark. Sun's smile widened. "They're paralyzed with fear," he told his officers. just like all the others. Prepare the first demonstration strike. Target their largest military installation. The Imperial fleet moved with practiced precision. 500 ships broke formation, positioning themselves over the North American continent. Their weapon systems pulsed with energy, creating more ripples of light in the sky. What the Empire didn't see were the activities taking place deep beneath the Earth's surface. In bunkers and hidden facilities around the world, humanity's real defenders prepared for battle. They watched the Imperial fleet through quantum sensors that the Empire didn't know existed, marking each ship's position and vulnerabilities. Their formation is perfect, one Earth officer noted in the underground command center. They've positioned themselves exactly where we predicted they would. The Empire's tactical doctrine was well known, studied extensively since their first appearance. They always followed the same pattern: intimidation, demonstration of force, then systematic conquest. Their very predictability would be their undoing. Commander Sun grew impatient with Earth's silence. They think they can ignore us. He snapped. Begin the demonstration strike countdown. Let them see what happens to worlds that defy the Empire. The weapons of 500 Imperial ships powered up for their first strike. Energy readings peaked, creating a brilliant display that outshone the sun itself. In moments, Earth would learn the price of resistance. But in that silence, humanity was far from inactive. Deep underground, final orders were being given. The Quantum Fleet's crews took their positions. Earth's real defense force prepared to reveal itself. The Empire had interpreted Earth's silence as fear or submission. They didn't recognize it for what it truly was: the calm before the storm. A storm that would change the balance of power in the galaxy forever. Commander Sun raised his hand, ready to give the order that would begin Earth's conquest. "Let this be a lesson to all who would defy the Empire," he declared to his crew. "No world can stand against our might." He had no idea that in moments, everything he believed about warfare, about Imperial supremacy, about the very nature of space itself, was about to be challenged. Earth's silence wasn't submission, it was preparation. The storm was about to break. The Imperial fleet hung in Earth's sky like a blanket of stars, their weapons charged and ready to fire. In their arrogance, they had positioned their ships in tight, orderly formations, perfect for delivering maximum damage to the planet below. It would also prove to be their greatest mistake. Deep within the Quantum Control Center, buried beneath the Antarctic ice, Captain Yoon Ji-hai sat in her command chair. Holographic displays surrounded her, showing the positions of every Imperial vessel. Her hands rested calmly on the control panel as she watched the final seconds count down. "All ships report ready status," her executive officer announced. "Quantum drives are at full power. Strike teams are in position." Captain Yoon nodded, her expression serene despite the weight of humanity's future resting on her shoulders. "Send the signal. Authorization code. Thunderstrike." The Quantum Fleet responded instantly. 10 sleek vessels, hidden in underground bases around the world, powered up their revolutionary drives. Unlike the bulky Imperial ships, Earth's vessels were elegant and streamlined, designed to slice through the fabric of space itself. The first sign that something was wrong came from an Imperial sensor operator. "Commander, energy readings. This is impossible." Before Commander Sun could respond, the Quantum Fleet struck. The Sun Tzu, humanity's flagship, materialized directly between two Imperial dreadnoughts. Its sudden appearance broke all known laws of physics, leaving no trace of its passage through space. "What sorcery is this?" Sun's voice cracked with disbelief as he watched the impossible unfold on his command screen. The Sun Tzu vanished again, reappearing instantly behind another Imperial vessel. A precise strike from its quantum weapons disabled the larger ship's engines, leaving it drifting helplessly. Before the Empire could respond, the Sun Tzu had disappeared again. "All ships, execute attack pattern Delta," Captain Yoon commanded. Her fleet moved with practiced precision, each vessel appearing and disappearing across the battlefield like ghosts. The Leonidas materialized within the Empire's formation, its quantum weapons cutting through the shields of 3 ships before vanishing again. The Hannibal appeared directly above Sun's flagship, its presence a silent mockery of Imperial power. "Return fire," Sun ordered, his composure shattered. "Target those ships." But how could they target vessels that didn't exist in normal space? The Empire's weapons were useless against ships that could simply step through space itself. Each time an Imperial gunner found their target, the human vessel would vanish, only to reappear somewhere else. Captain Yoon watched the battle unfold with careful attention. "Focus on their command and control systems," she ordered. "Disable, don't destroy. We want them to witness this." The quantum fleet moved like dancers in a carefully choreographed performance. The Alexander appeared inside an Imperial formation, its quantum field disrupting their communications. The Themistocles struck from below, its advanced weapons shutting down entire squadrons without causing a single casualty. "This is impossible." Sun's voice echoed across all channels as he watched his mighty fleet being systematically disabled. "No species has this technology. No one can fold space." Captain Yoon allowed herself a small smile. "Send the response message," she ordered. Her words were broadcast across every Imperial channel. "The impossible is humanity's specialty, Commander. Your Empire isn't the only one who can rewrite the rules." The battle continued, but it could hardly be called a battle anymore. It was a demonstration. Humanity showing the galaxy that a new power had arrived. The quantum fleet struck with surgical precision, disabling ship after ship while avoiding any loss of life. In his flagship, Commander Sun watched helplessly as his fleet was reduced to drifting hulks. 5,000 ships, the pride of the Imperial Navy, rendered useless by just 10 human vessels that appeared and disappeared at will. "Status report," he demanded. 70% of the fleet is disabled," his officer reported, voice trembling. "We can't track them, can't target them. They're not using any known form of propulsion or weapons technology." The Sun Tzu appeared one final time, directly in front of Sun's bridge. Captain Yoon's image replaced his tactical display. "Your Empire thought we were primitive," she said calmly. "You thought our silence meant fear. Now you understand. We were simply waiting for the right moment to show you how wrong you were." As quickly as they had appeared, the quantum fleet vanished again, leaving behind a graveyard of disabled Imperial ships. The mighty armada that had arrived to conquer Earth now floated helplessly in orbit, a testament to humanity's leap beyond conventional physics. Sun stood on his bridge, staring at the Earth below. For the first time in Imperial history, a primitive world had not only resisted, it had completely overthrown everything the Empire thought it knew about space warfare. The age of Imperial dominance was over. The era of quantum warfare had begun. The space around Earth had become a graveyard of Imperial ambition. Admiral Choi Hai-jin watched from her command chair aboard the Sun Tzu as Imperial ships drifted helplessly, their mighty weapons silenced by quantum strikes. Her small fleet of 10 ships had achieved what the Empire had thought impossible, the complete defeat of an armada 500 times their size. "Status of the Imperial flagship?" Admiral Choi asked, her voice calm despite the historic moment unfolding before her. "Still operational, but isolated," her tactical officer reported. "They've lost contact with 80% of their fleet. Their formation is breaking apart." Through the quantum sensors, Choi watched the Imperial ships trying to regroup. Their movements were desperate now, nothing like the precise patterns they had shown when arriving. Fear had replaced arrogance, confusion had replaced certainty. "Message from Commander Sun," the communications officer announced. "They're requesting a temporary ceasefire to collect their damaged vessels." Admiral Choi permitted herself a small smile. "Show me their fleet status." The holographic display updated, showing the full extent of humanity's victory. Imperial ships floated in random patterns, their engines disabled by precise quantum strikes. Some spun slowly, their guidance systems offline. Others drifted in clusters, their crews unable to do anything but watch as their mighty fleet fell apart. "Target their remaining command and control ships," Choi ordered. "Let's remove any chance of them coordinating a counterattack." The quantum fleet moved like shadows through space. The Hannibal appeared inside a group of Imperial command ships, its quantum field disrupting their communications before they could even register its presence. The Leonidas struck from multiple positions simultaneously, seeming to be in 3 places at once as it disabled ship after ship. Commander Sun's voice crackled across the emergency channels. "Break off the attack. All ships, retreat to safe distance." But his orders meant nothing to ships that could no longer move, their engines cold and silent in the void of space. "Admiral," her sensor officer reported, "the Imperial ships are trying to activate their emergency jump drives. They're attempting to abandon their disabled vessels." "Not today," Choi responded. She pressed a control on her chair, opening a channel to all ships. "Quantum Fleet, execute containment pattern Echo. No Imperial ship leaves this solar system." The 10 Earth vessels moved with perfect coordination, their quantum drives allowing them to appear wherever an Imperial ship tried to escape. The Sun Tzu materialized directly in front of 3 retreating cruisers, its presence alone forcing them to halt their escape attempt. From his crippled flagship, Commander Sun watched in horror as his retreat options disappeared one by one. The humans were herding his remaining operational ships into a tight cluster, surrounding them with disabled vessels that served as a barrier to escape. "How?" he demanded over the command channel. "How can 10 ships defeat 5,000? This defies all military logic." Admiral Choi's response was broadcast across all frequencies. "Your Empire's greatest weakness, Commander, was believing that you had mastered all there was to know about space warfare. You never considered that someone might find a completely new way to fight." The Quantum Fleet continued its methodical dismantling of Imperial power. The Alexander appeared inside the enemy formation, using its quantum field to shut down weapon systems. The Themistocles struck from above and below simultaneously, its quantum-shifted weapons passing through Imperial shields as if they didn't exist. "Admiral," her tactical officer reported, "only the Imperial flagship and 20 support vessels remain operational. The rest of their fleet is completely disabled." Choi nodded, watching as the mighty Imperial armada huddled together like frightened animals. The ships that had arrived to conquer Earth now drifted helplessly in its orbit, their crews watching in disbelief as 10 human vessels rewrote everything they knew about warfare. "Open a channel to Commander Sun," she ordered. The Imperial commander's face appeared on her screen, his expression a mixture of fear and awe. "Your Empire thought Earth was primitive," Choi said calmly. "You believed that technology could only advance along the paths you already knew. Today you learned how wrong that assumption was." She gestured to her tactical officer, who sent coordinates to the remaining Imperial ships. "Move your operational vessels to these positions. Prepare to receive boarding teams. Earth will decide what happens to your fleet and your crews." The battle had lasted less than 2 hours. 10 ships against 5,000. Quantum technology against Imperial might. The impossible had become reality, and the galaxy would never be the same. As the sun rose over Earth, its light reflected off the scattered Imperial fleet, a testament to humanity's greatest victory and the Empire's greatest mistake. The marble halls of the Imperial High Council chamber fell silent as Commander Kim Do-yeon finished his report. The massive screens behind him showed footage of Earth's quantum ships appearing and disappearing at will, systematically dismantling the Empire's greatest fleet. The gathered council members shifted uncomfortably in their seats, watching their worst nightmare unfold before them. "Play it again," ordered the High Council leader, his voice barely masking his disbelief. The footage repeated, a human vessel materializing inside the Imperial formation, striking with precision, then vanishing before any response could be made. "This cannot be real," one council member declared, standing up from his seat. "Our scientists have proven that such technology is impossible." Space cannot be folded like paper. Commander Kim straightened his back, the weight of the Empire's first major defeat heavy on his shoulders. I watched it happen with my own eyes. 5,000 ships, our most powerful fleet, defeated by 10 human vessels. They didn't just beat us. They made us look helpless. News of the defeat was already spreading through Imperial space. On conquered worlds across the galaxy, billions watched leaked footage of the battle. Species that had lived under Imperial rule for generations saw something they had never witnessed before. The Empire's invincible fleet reduced to drifting wreckage. In the distant Centauri colonies, alien workers stopped their mining operations to gather around view screens. The Empire's grip had always seemed absolute, their technology unmatched. Now they watched as human ships danced through space like ghosts, ignoring the very laws of physics the Empire had built its power upon. "What are their demands?" another council member asked, her voice trembling slightly. "Surely these humans want something in return for sparing our fleet." Commander Kim activated another display, showing the terms Earth had transmitted after the battle. "They demand recognition as an equal power. They want the Empire to withdraw from 3 sectors of space near Earth. And—" he paused, knowing the next part would be hardest for the Council to accept. "They want us to release any world that chooses to leave the Empire." The chamber erupted in shocked voices. Release conquered worlds. Accept limits to Imperial power. It was unthinkable. Yet the evidence of Earth's superiority hung in space around their planet, in the form of 5,000 disabled warships being towed home by embarrassed Imperial crews. On the trading world of Proxima Beta, alien merchants were already adjusting their prices. If the Empire's power was no longer absolute, if their technology could be surpassed, then everything would change. Some began making discreet inquiries about Earth's potential interest in trade agreements. "There's more," Commander Kim continued once the chamber quieted. "Our analysis shows that the humans have barely begun to exploit their quantum technology. The ships we faced were just prototypes. They're already building more, and their understanding of spacefolding grows daily." The implications were clear. The Empire had not just lost a battle. They had discovered they were no longer the most advanced civilization in the galaxy. Their comfortable assumption of superiority had been shattered by 10 ships that ignored everything they thought they knew about physics. In the Orion Arm, 3 conquered species began quiet discussions about independence. If humans could defeat the Empire so completely, perhaps they would be willing to help others do the same. Secret messages were prepared, to be sent to Earth through hidden channels. "We must adapt," Commander Kim concluded. "The humans have changed everything. Either we accept them as equals and learn to coexist, or we risk losing everything we've built. They can strike anywhere, at any time, and our weapons are useless against their quantum technology." The High Council chamber remained silent as the members contemplated their options. Through the grand windows, they could see the first of their defeated ships limping into orbit, their proud Imperial markings scarred by quantum strikes. On 1,000 worlds, in 1,000,000 gathering places, the peoples of the galaxy watched and waited. The Empire that had seemed eternal suddenly appeared vulnerable. The humans had not just won a battle, they had sparked a revolution in how the galaxy viewed power itself. The age of absolute Imperial rule was ending. A new era was beginning, shaped by the impossible technology that humanity had somehow mastered. The only question was whether the Empire would adapt to this new reality, or break against it like waves against a shore. Commander Kim watched the council members arguing among themselves, knowing that nothing would ever be the same. The humans had done more than defeat a fleet. They had shattered the very foundations of Imperial power. And this was only the beginning. The Imperial capital world gleamed like a jewel in space as Earth's diplomatic vessel emerged from its quantum fold. Ambassador Nam Mire stood on the bridge, watching the planet grow larger in the view screen. The Sun Tzu, now converted for diplomatic missions, had made the journey in moments, a trip that would have taken Imperial ships weeks. "They've cleared a landing path for us," the ship's captain reported. Their orbital defenses have powered down as agreed. Nam nodded, straightening her formal diplomatic uniform. 1 year had passed since humanity had shattered Imperial power, and now they had come to forge a new future. The landing pad they approached was filled with Imperial officials and representatives from 100 worlds, all gathered to witness something unprecedented: the Empire treating another species as an equal. The Sun Tzu settled onto the landing pad with perfect precision, its quantum drive humming softly. Through the windows, Nam could see the massive crowd that had gathered. Many had traveled across the galaxy to witness this historic moment. "Ready?" her aide asked, holding the document case containing the proposed treaty. "As ready as anyone can be when changing history," Nam replied with a small smile. The ship's main door opened, and Earth's diplomatic team stepped out into alien sunlight. The Imperial Honor Guard snapped to attention, their ceremonial weapons held high. It was the same gesture they used to welcome Imperial leaders, another small acknowledgement of humanity's new status. The Imperial High Council waited at the end of the red carpet. Their faces showed a mixture of emotions: respect, fear, curiosity, and for some, barely hidden resentment. They had spent centuries believing their civilization was the peak of advancement. Now they had to accept that a primitive world had surpassed them. Nam walked forward with measured steps, her team following behind. Above them, 3 ships from Earth's quantum fleet appeared and disappeared in a carefully choreographed display. The crowd gasped each time the vessels phased in and out of normal space. "Welcome to the Imperial capital," the High Council leader said, extending his hands in the traditional greeting. "We are honored to host Earth's representatives on this historic day." Nam returned the gesture perfectly. She had studied Imperial protocols extensively. "The honor is shared," she replied. "Today we begin a new chapter in galactic history." They moved into the Grand Council chamber, where representatives from every Imperial world waited. Among them, Nam noticed delegates from newly independent worlds, planets that had seized their freedom after Earth proved the Empire could be defeated. The treaty signing ceremony began with traditional Imperial formality, but there was nothing traditional about the terms being agreed to. The Empire would recognize Earth as an equal power. A new council would be formed, with representatives from all spacefaring species. The era of conquest would end, replaced by cooperation and trade. "We offer friendship," Nam declared as she signed the document, her words broadcast across the galaxy. "But we will never accept subjugation. The future belongs to those who innovate, not those who dominate." The High Council leader added his signature next to hers. As he did, screens around the chamber showed the quantum fleet in action, not destroying ships now, but helping establish new trade routes, rescuing stranded vessels, and protecting merchant ships from pirates. "The galaxy enters a new age," the leader announced, "one where strength comes from cooperation, not conquest." After the ceremony, Nam walked through the capital's grand gardens with several alien diplomats. They discussed plans for sharing technology, establishing cultural exchanges, and building a truly unified galactic civilization. "Your quantum ships," one diplomat asked, "will they help protect our worlds too?" Nam nodded. "Earth remembers what it felt like to be threatened by a superior power. We won't let that happen to others. The quantum fleet will defend any world that asks for help, as part of the new alliance." Above them, the Sun Tzu demonstrated its capabilities one final time, appearing at different points around the capital planet in rapid succession. Each jump sent a clear message: humanity's protection could reach anywhere, instantly. As the diplomatic team prepared to return to Earth, Nam took one last look at the Imperial capital. What had begun as a dismissal of a primitive species had ended in the transformation of galactic society. The Empire had learned its lesson. Never underestimate humanity's potential for advancement, or their determination to remain free. The quantum drive hummed to life, and the Sun Tzu folded space around itself. In an instant, they were back in Earth orbit. Behind them, they left a galaxy forever changed, not by conquest or domination, but by innovation and the courage to imagine a better way. The age of imperial power had ended. The era of human innovation had begun.